What a surprise! The Chicago Bears lose to the Arizona Cardinals by a score of 33-22. Pretty much like I predicted. I was a couple points off on this. I predicted the Bears were going to lose by a score of, I think, 30. Did I say 30-17 or something like that? So pretty close to what I thought it was going to be like. The Bears were not the better team out there. It was pretty obvious from the very beginning, even though the game itself was very sloppy with the weather conditions. It was super cold outside. It was rainy. So the weather conditions, you would think that makes it easier for a team like the Bears to win this game because we live here. We're used to these conditions, but we let a warm weather dome team in the Cardinals come up to Soldier Field and beat us by 11 points because that's where the Bears are at this point in time. What's going on, guys? I'm back with the Chicago Bears post-game reaction videos, which I'll be doing every single week this year, regardless of if the Bears are winning or not. So if you guys want my videos every single week, subscribe to this channel. But in today's video, I'll be breaking down how the Bears lost to the Cardinals. And it's pretty simple, guys. 4 turnovers. You don't win many football games if you have even 2 turnovers. 3 makes it even less likely, and 4 makes it damn near impossible to win a football game. Our offense, for the majority of today, guys, they were actually moving the ball down the field pretty effectively, okay? The run game was working amazingly. David Montgomery had 21 carries for 90 yards. This guy was just carrying the Bears on his back, you know, making people miss tackles, running through people. He was a monster out there the entire day, which props to Monty, man. I feel bad this guy has to deal with being in Chicago because he's a very talented running back. So the running game was working pretty well. Andy was doing a good job getting the ball out pretty fast, you know, getting the ball to his receivers and, you know, converting third down. But what killed him were the turnovers, and that's what separates him from being a good quarterback in this league. That's what separates him from being a starting level quarterback in this league. Andy Dalton is not a starting level quarterback, guys. Some of the throws that he had near the end of this game, especially that interception on the screen pass, what the hell were you thinking, Andy Dalton? I know that 2 of his interceptions were not on him. Okay, one was tipped at the line, one was dropped by Cole Kmet, which, man, Cole Kmet has been involved in creating a lot of turnovers this year, guys. Okay, there's been a couple of drops that have led to turnovers, some with Justin Fields, so it's really starting to worry me, man, that Cole Kmet, even in year 2, he's not really taking the next step forward to being a top-level tight end in this league, okay? His hands are way too unreliable. He's making mistakes in route running. So Cole Kmet had a bad drop that changed the momentum of this game, okay? Because the Bears were driving down the field. We could have scored and tied the game up, but instead, you know, they got the interception. They returned it pretty far into our own territory, and the Cardinals scored right after that. They scored a touchdown, so it's 14-0 pretty damn fast. And obviously, the first interception of the game was also fully on Andy Dalton, okay? Completely overthrowing, I think it was Jakeem Grant, and the ball bounced up, landed into the arms of the Cardinals defender, and then they scored a touchdown pretty fast after that to set the tone for the rest of the game, guys, which that's really important, guys, getting off to early leads, and that's something the Bears have really not done this entire season. When you turn the ball over so early into a football game, that's going to set the tone for the rest of the game, and that's exactly what happened, guys, because we had 3 more turnovers after that first interception. So again, I'm not trying to say that every single turnover was on Andy Dalton, but 2 of them were really bad, and they were directly on Andy. So even though I commend Andy for being able to move the football down the field, even being down, you know, Allen Robinson, Marquise Goodwin, both of these guys are not playing in this game. You know, we have a very questionable play caller, obviously, that's probably going to be fired in a couple weeks at the end of the season. So there was a lot working against Andy. He's not in the proper system. Obviously, like Justin Fields isn't either, but he can't turn the ball over this many times, guys. It doesn't matter how good of an offensive drive you have. If you turn the ball over, none of it actually matters. So top to bottom, man, our passing attack was not good enough in this game, guys. Okay, receivers were also dropping balls. You know, Darnell Mooney had a pretty bad drop that it hit him right in the hands, and Mooney has had somewhat of a drop issue this year, guys. Okay, so I don't think he's a number 1, guys. He doesn't have reliable enough hands to be a number 1. He's a solid number 2, but as a number 1, I don't know if I trust Darnell Mooney at this point in time. We saw Rodney Adams, who got promoted from the practice squad. He also had a very bad drop that hit him right in the hands. So it's like our receivers aren't good enough clearly in this game. Our quarterback wasn't good enough either. Our offensive line did actually enable us to run the ball pretty well. They're pretty good in run blocking, obviously, like they have been this entire season. The pass protection was a little bit hit or miss, but they also weren't like horrible guys. Like they did give Andy enough time to get the ball off on a good portion of our drives, but it's just that we turned the ball over far too often for it to have mattered. Okay, so all of our offensive drives, it did not matter because we turned the ball over after a good portion of those drives. We only lost by 11 points, guys. Okay, 11 points could easily have been scored for us if we did not turn the ball over 4 damn times. So it's just so infuriating, guys, because I feel like the Bears could have easily competed in this game. We maybe could have stolen this game if we just did not turn the ball over so many damn times. Okay, obviously the Arizona Cardinals on offense, they were doing a damn good job against our defense. Our defense looked silly for a good portion of this game. We were allowing Kyler Murray to run all over us. He ran in for a touchdown. He had an early touchdown to DeAndre Hopkins as well, where Jalen Johnson got burnt, which there's not much shame in getting burnt by one of the best receivers in the league, but it shows you, man, Jalen Johnson also is pretty young. He's going to have some learning moments. And the rest of our cornerbacks, man, they are absolutely horrible. Okay, Xavier Crawford got called for a defensive pass interference on a crucial third down. R.D. Burns was in there as well, not really doing much of anything, giving up a couple plays in this game as well. So it really shows you, man, Ryan Pace completely screwed the Bears over in terms of cornerback talent. Okay, he cut Kyle Fuller, which looking back, that was probably the right move because Kyle Fuller has been horrible this year, but he did not find an adequate replacement for Kyle Fuller. Okay, we have Kendall Vildor and Xavier Crawford, and like, who the heck are half these guys, man? I bet if you asked a random football fan to name 3 members of this Bears secondary, they probably could not do it unless they were a diehard Bears fan. Okay, so that's how bad our depth is at cornerback, and it's just it makes me go crazy. Like, how did Ryan Pace actually think this cornerbacking trio was going to work? I recognize that Sean Desai also has his own limitations. He's a first-time defensive coordinator, also making some mistakes. But what does Sean Desai even have to work with, guys? Okay, half of our cornerbacks would not start anywhere in the NFL. Actually, pretty much all of them besides Jalen would not start in the NFL on any team. So it's just that, man, our talent is not good enough to compete with teams like the Cardinals, especially after turning the ball over 4 times. Now, given all of that, we still only lost this game by 11 points. It was somewhat close in the fourth quarter. So it shows you that there are some building blocks on this team going forward that we can be excited about. You know, guys like Roquan Smith, guys like David Montgomery, guys like, Larry Borom. I think I'll have to go back and watch the tape, but I didn't notice Larry Borom making too many mistakes out there. We also have, our young guy in Jalen Johnson, who, although he made one pretty bad mistake against DeAndre Hopkins, I don't think he was responsible for the other touchdowns. So we do have some building blocks on this team. We have our young quarterback, Justin Fields, who hopefully turns into something. So it's not all bad, but I'm getting so sick of these losses, man. Okay, year after year after year, it's like I'm getting numb to the pain now at this point, right? Because it's like I expect the Bears to lose now, and that's not how being a diehard fan, that's not the experience you should be having. Okay, Chicago is such a good football city with such good, loyal, diehard fans, and we are being treated to absolutely horrible Bears football. The McCaskies need to make massive changes after the season, which I hope and pray they finally find the right people to lead this team in the right direction, because it seems like they never can find those people. Let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comments down below. Obviously, we got the Packers on Sunday Night Football next weekend, which might be painful to watch, but hey, we're diehard fans. If you're watching this video right now, you're probably a diehard fan too, and we're gonna get through this pain together, guys. As always, bear down.